I'm going to pass it off to Jesse and the team at Aurora Bell Tower Studios, and they're going to tell us a little bit about their film.
All right. Hi, folks. I am Jesse Woodward, and I'm the director and also owner of Aurora Bell Tower Studios here. And I just want to say, first off the bat, thank you, Logan and Nice Moves, for inviting us for the talk here. We like to give a little bit of information about our studio and our upcoming project. And if you guys have any questions, we have a nice Q&A at the very end. So let's kind of jump into this. So before we do anything, we want to kind of show you guys our animation teaser. All right. I get goosebumps every time. I have an awesome team. So I just want to kind of have some of our team here kind of introduce each other. So for our weekly meetings, this is kind of a layout of what we have here on Teams. And so I kind of want to go through the team members that are here today, and there are many others. And I'll make sure that we have a link to our IMBD so you guys can check out who the full cast and crew is. But I just want to introduce myself, and I'll just go around the room here. So hello, I'm Jesse Woodward. I'm the director and owner at this time. In the future, we might have a rotating director for other projects, but I'm the director as of right now. Up next, Maddie.
Hi there, I'm Maddie Christensen. I am the co-producer for the animated short film and a member of Aurora Bell Tower Studios. And yeah, happy to be here.
Jordan.
Hi, I'm Jordan Schultz. I'm one of the character animators with Aurora Bell Tower Studios, and I do some 3D generalist stuff as well on the side.
Danielle.
Hi, I'm Danielle Patterson, and I'm one of the character animators for Aurora Bell Tower Studios as well.
We'll go to Janessa.
Hi, I'm Janessa. I'm the character artist for Aurora Bell Tower Studios.
Anna.
Hi, I'm Anna, and I'm part of the visual development team at Aurora Bell Tower Studios.
And Mackenzie.
Hello, I'm Mackenzie Burke, and I'm one of the animators at Aurora Bell Tower Studios.
Awesome. And this is everybody we have here for this presentation, again, based on time and other plans and such. Our other team members weren't able to make it, but I'm sure that we can help and answer any questions that we can going forward. So I just want to give a little bit of a background of how we kind of got started with the studio. So when I started working at UW Stout in 2017, I met Caitlin Pluckapole, Anna Dable, and Maddie Christensen. They're teaching animation and 3D general stuff. And when Caitlin graduated, she was like, Jesse, I want to learn more about animation. I want to, grow and learn more and practice. Can I be with you over the summer online and, try out some animations and, go through some critiques and stuff. So we did some smaller, animation exercises and stuff. And they actually got bigger and bigger until we had one that was, about 25 to 30 seconds long. And then Caitlin was like, why don't we just do a complete animated short film? And I was like, all right, but I'll only do one if one, the story is solid and the characters are solid. If we don't have a good base in the story and the narrative, everything else is going to suffer. So, Caitlin, and then we also brought in Anna and Maddie around this time, and they brainstormed stuff, and I was kind of in with those meetings. And I was really critical. I think Maddie can kind of contest that, and Anna can kind of agree to that too. But then we came up with this awesome story with these amazing characters, and we were like, okay, we got something here. And so that's when we started organizing. Maddie became the producer there, and things just started to grow. I started reaching out to some of my network and professionals in the field to help us out to kind of mix a little bit with alumni, graduates, and with other folks that I know. And right now we have just an awesome collection of people in the studio. So going forward here, just talk a little bit about the studio and how we have it running. So right now this is a virtual studio. We do have a couple people that are local, being that very close to Menominee, and then we also have quite a few folks in the Twin Cities. But we also have folks in California, New York, Baltimore, and possibly some other folks. I might be missing some folks, but all over the United States working on this project. So for this, we actually started working on this before the pandemic hit, and so we were kind of prepared as a virtual studio already to continue working in that kind of virtual environment. And it gave us a really good opportunity during COVID to have a project that we be passionate about, but also kind of distract us from what was going on. So I feel it was a really good time to have this project here. But some other kind of tools and stuff that we use is Microsoft Teams with SharePoint. I also use another dedicated cloud service to also do a second backup because you never know what's going to happen. I cannot say enough, and this is probably going to be a huge advertisement. SyncSketch is the best critiquing tool for animation, period. If you have not used syncsketch.com, definitely check it out if you're an animator and you haven't heard about it. I introduced this to Mike Owens when I first met him, and he was like, "What's that?" And then he checked it out, and he's like, "Jesse, this is awesome." So definitely check it out. What it is it's a kind of a synced up critique time-based kind of interface right in the browser. You can leave notes, you can do annotations and drawovers, and it's just fantastic. And there is a free version of it, so you don't have to pay a monthly subscription for it unless you kind of have to grow with it. We also have a pretty strict weekly virtual meeting setup. So right now we have a Monday and a Thursday meeting. One's for the animators and riggers and technical artists, and then the other one is for look dev and texture materials and shaders for where we're using an Unreal. And yes, we are using Unreal Engine for our rendering, our materials and lighting, along with some visual effects. Along with that, we wanted to build this studio to be healthy and have an online community for helping and support. And then, like I said, we have some somewhat strict scheduling, but we understand that this is more of a side project or a passion project. So some of that scheduling does get a little bit, get a bit soft and such, which is good. And then we also have a pretty good prevalence here on social media too. So we do have a Facebook, a Twitter, an Instagram, and a website, including a full fledged out IMBD page. We will share a card link, which has all those links provided. We also have a Discord, I almost forgot. Yeah, so we have a ton of links if you guys would like to learn more and join our community. All right, so I just want to kind of jump into our process here. And before handing it off to Anna here, talking a little bit about pre-production, I do want to say that for this studio, even though it's small and we're kind of a virtual studio here, we are following as closely as we can to professional studio process. So we have pre-production, production, and production and release. So I'll hand it off to Anna here.
Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to cover some of our pre-production stuff today. So once we figured out the story we wanted to tell, we got to start working on pre-production. Part of that was working on the storyboards to give kind of like a visual map to the story we were going to tell. So we took the story script and we broke it down into like beats and moments that would be turned into like each frame and shot of the storyboard. We started out with just some very rough thumbnails. As you can see to the left there, they're almost kind of stick figures just to get like the general idea. And from those, after many revisions, as we sorted out what we wanted to happen in each scene, we created more more finished storyboards. As you can see to the right, that included some lighting cues as well.
And I just want to add to Anna is that this is just one snapshot of one scene. Our animation is, we don't have it 100% locked down to the timing yet because we're still kind of pushing, or we're still kind of doing stuff in blocking animation for proper timing. But we're going to be north of 5 minutes for this short film. So this, do you know how many panels we have, or we had for the animatic? Do you remember?
In the hundreds, I think.
Yeah, I think it was close to 200 or close to it. So yeah, this is just a snapshot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so then once we finished the storyboards and everything, we put it in the animatic to get the timing for how long we thought the animation was going to be. And like Jesse said, after the editing and timing, it came out to be a little over 5 minutes. And this is just helpful for us to get a feel for like how long certain movements should take and like how long we're in different settings and scenes.
And I want to say, I mean, I had a hand in editing the animatic, but also Anna was working right beside me because I'm not the best editor. And I think Anna did an awesome job working beside me for it.
Another thing that we worked on in pre-production was a color script. Because we're going to be using a lot of custom lighting and textures, this was important so that we had kind of like a base for what we wanted to achieve in each scene. Kind of just like the colors and the light sources and textures. As you can see for the scene right here, there's a lot of blue colors and very little lighting except from the doorway that Nova walks in from. And we were trying to like touch into her emotions and like her sadness in this scene, and just we figured out like what visual choices we wanted to convey those emotions. All right, and for some of our character designs for pre-production for Nova, Kimberly Delane created the initial concept for Nova, and then Andrew Adams took that design, explored it, and expanded upon it, creating this lovely turnaround of Nova here. He also created the color palette for her character. And this is just one of the examples of one of the characters we worked on here. Another aspect of the film that we can show you from like concept to creation is the design for the portal. To the left corner there, you can see that Andrew put together an inspiration board of kind of like what kind of portal were we trying to make and kind of just like references. And that led to the 8 designs that he has in the right corner of the slide. As you can see, he played with a lot of different shapes and like how the portal was situated. And once we decided on which portal design we liked the best, I believe it was number 2 there, but we decided to flip it over. He put it in one of the settings and kind of just did a mock-up of what it would look like with the portal active or with it not, as well as a little silhouette just to show the scale of how big it is compared to the characters. Another important thing that Andrew worked on is the poster for our short film. He went through a lot of really great ideations. We were trying to go for kind of like a mysterious feel, and you can see that he was really achieving it with some of the thumbnails with the mystery here. And these are a couple of his early ideations. And these are the next passive ideations. You can see that we have a lot of imagery of like hand holdings as well as like the skyline of the city to kind of show our futuristic setting. And in the next slide, we have the poster design that we did end up going with. This is one that centers around the portal, and as you can see on the very left is his initial thumbnail design. And we have each step as he added more and more detail to create the lovely poster we have now. A couple other things that the visual development department has been working on are banners for some of our fundraising campaigns, additional posters, as well as some images and drawings to go within the film itself as textures on props, which you can see to the very right there.
As in like Nova's illustrations, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And just as a little bonus, here are some sticker designs that Andrew worked on for one of our campaigns featuring Nova and her beloved Mothman plush.
So the next 3 slides are my department. I was the character artist, and I started off with blocking. I took the concept art that Kimberly Delane and Andrew had worked on and created a base blocking, and then sculpted in the clothes and the hair and everything to make it look like a stylized version. We kind of went through a couple, like, trying to figure out what feel we want for the characters, what style. So we went for a more stylized clothing look, stylized body shapes. So these are just the different phases I went through: blocking, sculpting, and then retopology and UVs. And then I brought that into Substance Painter and baked and added textures. So this one's Nova, this one's Alice, and this is Victor. Those are our 3 main characters.
And we're still working on Victor's materials, so that's going to be coming up next. So no worries there.
Yep, he's the farthest behind.
Poor guy.
He's doing his best. And then this was a bonus that we came up with for the Kickstarter. I made some little mini figurines to give off as little bonus prizes. Just even more stylized characters.
All right. Jumping into rigging and technical art. Both our riggers and technical artists could not make it for tonight, but I'll cover as best I can. The first thing I would just want to kind of note or let you guys know is something that we wanted to focus on, and this is used quite a bit in more advanced studio processes, is using proxy rigs. So proxy rigs, for the folks that don't know, it's got like the main controls and the main skeleton, but the materials are not there. The mesh is not 100% hashed out, and you can even see that we have some cuts and stuff happening along the mesh, and it's not 100% weighted for those joints areas. But what it does is these are kind of rough, but it gives our animators and layout artists to get stuff set up in Maya so that we can start kind of blocking some stuff out in animation before these are ready to go, both on the rigging side and also on the texture and material side. Once we have kind of the final rig, or higher versions of the rig, we could just simply do a reference replace, and then we have the same animation and movement from our rigs in our animation scenes. This is one of the first tests that we did with one of the arms. I think it was for Alice's arm, and I'll play it a couple times here. Thank you, Danielle, so much. I think you were the one who did this test animation. And I think it came out really well. Again, this is just for the proxy rig to see if it'll work. And I think we also brought this animation over to Unreal 2 just to make sure that things transferred good. Very cool. All right, so this is where we get into the more advanced stuff, and I can't talk too much about the process of how Richard Warner set this up. If you'd like more information, I can provide his website. If you have any questions, you can contact him through his website. But one of the first things we ended up rigging was this bracelet. This bracelet needs to go around the wrist of our 2 characters, Nova and Alice. And the problem that we were having is that it's got to follow along that curve of the leather band. And it's also has to move the beads in both directions and have that flexibility of actually having that core leather piece being flexible and moving around at the same time leaving those beads along that path. So it was very complicated. And then on top of that, if you guys don't know about Unreal, is that for each prop and character that you have, you need to have one unifying joint hierarchy. You can't have more than one in one scene. So what we had to do was we, again, made a pretty elaborate joint system with this. And then once we are ready, we can connect those joint hierarchies to, let's say, the Nova or the Alice rig, and kind of join those joints and make it as one hierarchy. Let me give you guys just a little bit of some information here on how Richard kind of set this up. You see number 1 there is a central joint hierarchy where all the other joints are connected. And then we have a curve with a motion path and constraints. And then a distance node, so in between each bead. And then a final joint position for each bead. And not only can these beads go along the path, but they can also rotate, right? So we actually had some, I don't know if Jordan has this animation of her, remember that it was from the scene that we're finishing up where you're moving the beads in the fingers and Nova's fingers. And it just looks so good because it's just surprising that it works so fluently, and Richard did an amazing job setting that up.
It's very easy to work with.
Yeah. He's just a wizard. And I don't know where we'd be without Richard helping us with rigs. Here's a little bit of a kind of a video demo here. And it gives us great flexibility. We can move the beads wherever we want, and we can move that band wherever we want and still keep them aligned. Oh man, it's so good.
We wouldn't be able to do it any justice explaining it.
Again, if you would like more information, you can contact Richard Warner. And I do have his website if you guys would like to check out his work and his contact information. Richard is actually a connection that I have from grad school out in California. And so I contacted him when we were thinking about developing some rigs and such. And I'm like, you know what? I think I have somebody in mind who I met in grad school. And I think it was a really excellent choice. All right. We're going to jump into animation here, where everybody's looking forward to here. All right. Take it away, Mackenzie.
Oh, I'm going first. So like Jesse mentioned, we really tried to, at least the team that started, I was brought on later, really honed in this pipeline to get it like as professional as possible and to do all the things the professional studios do with gathering reference and then going into blocking and going to polishing. And a lot of times we even will have one person do the blocking and then move the animation scene to another person, and they'll do the polishing, and there's a lot of back and forth. So it's been very professional and amazing, an amazing learning experience, as well as just very fun seeing this kind of come together into something so much bigger.
I just want to say, and I think I said this when you joined, and I actually told everybody, the requirement for being an animator on this team is that everybody has to do a reference for their shots, no matter what. Need to do a reference, because I taught you guys to do that too, and it makes all the difference to study how you're moving, what your acting beats like, and whether or not it's following with who the character is from the storyboard or whatnot. Yeah, excellent. Jordan?
Yeah, so this is our very recent shot that I just worked on, kind of showing our progress. We're starting to get into the other scenes of the film. We kind of worked through the teaser process to kind of test out our pipeline, going through a layout, blocking, and then through polish, and then passing it off to the look dev team to get all the renders out and making it look all nice. So that was a good way to test out how things might work throughout the entire process of us going through blocking and trying to get through the whole film, and then going back through with polish, because it's always nice to see every shot in 3D. I know from doing a lot of the layout, you realize how much time movements need and how many frames things have to like get to point A to point B. So it helps going through the layout and setting the time and blocking the whole film so that we can get a good idea, especially for our people who are doing our audio. So it helps a lot having the planning behind it, and also, yeah, taking reference no matter what. Any movement can have expression in it, no matter what. It can only help you to do reference. So, yeah.
I just want to add too that this is a really good demo of showing the proxy rig versus a more complete and final rig. So
Yeah.
Nova is that model, or that rig is a newer rig that we used for the teaser trailer. So that one is all set up in our later down our pipeline to just quickly add materials and textures and stuff. And then you can see for Victor, being that he's still in kind of proxy, and you can see how it's pretty rough, but we can still animate and pose, right? Which makes it really efficient that we can animate while our riggers and our texture and artists are still working on stuff. Yeah. Danielle.
So this is more of a promotional animation. So it's an animatic kind of built outside of our short. And it kind of features one of our creature characters.
And Danielle, since we're animating a lot of our stuff, and I know this is just for promotional, what was your process, and what software did you use for animating?
So my process for this was I used Clip Studio Paint, since it has a very friendly way of kind of quickly storyboarding things out and also animating things out. So it allowed me to tween and kind of get more of emotion within the creature character or the corgi character. And the kind of the process for this was the mysterious bracelet is kind of being chewed around and kind of being this, aside from being an item of importance, it became an item of became more of a toy, but it still kind of holds its importance to the story.
Okay. Anna.
Hello. So another promotional animation that we did were a series of pixel art animations. This was just something that we thought would be fun to post on social media, and I really wanted to learn pixel art as well, so it's just fun all around. And so we feature Nova in the environment of her room, as well as eating cereal. If you look closely, there's a little Mothman on the cereal box.
I just want to say you guys are getting an exclusive, because the one pixel art that we have not released yet is the cereal eating one, which will be released in our social media somewhat soon. So you guys get a little bit of an exclusive there. And I just want to add too, based on the promotional animation here and maybe some others that we have, these are just kind of like the latest ones that we'll be showing. Actually, the corgi one is also, that one's new too, that's exclusive. We haven't shown yet. So we got two exclusive pieces there. But I just want to say that even though we're kind of busy at work with our short film, because it's a passion project, many, if not everybody here, takes a hand in doing some, extra little bit of work, or, does something else that, is not in 3D and wants to kind of show off that we're not just animating, but we're also kind of really passionate in developing other artwork for this project. All right, into lighting, textures, and materials. So both of our lighting, texture, and material artists and look dev in Unreal, they were unable to make it to the meeting tonight, but I'll see if I can cover some materials here. If you have any questions about our process a little bit later, you can definitely contact me, and I can kind of forward you guys to our two folks that are working on this. But just going through here, we kind of went through somewhat together, but I think both Ellie and Hannah search for other references of different types of style and of materials and lighting, and we decided of certain types of or parts of each thing that we want to kind of make into our animated short film and kind of get the look and feel that we want. We did want to have a little bit more of kind of a cell shaded type of look, but we didn't want to go 100% to like that 2D feel like you can see from what's that one animated? It's the one up at the top right. I can never remember. I think it's called Liftoff or
One Small Step.
One Small Step. Thank you. We didn't want to go as that far into like a 2D look onto 3D materials, so we wanted to kind of get kind of in between those two looks of 3D and 2D. And here's a little bit of a video of just showing our Play Blast in Maya versus our rendering in Unreal. And so we have a lot of texture materials that are being input into Unreal from Surface Painter and Designer. And then we also have our own custom shaders that we have developed for this one to get kind of that kind of cell shaded look with the lighting that we have. And we're still in development with that to kind of polish it up and get the exact look that we want. But of course, throughout every single shot, we might have to kind of adjust based on the environment and lighting. This is something we've been working on recently. Being that we're in Unreal Engine, we wanted to experiment with SSS or Subsurface Scattering, especially in skin. And you can see here kind of our experimentations of how little or much affects the skin here in the face of Nova. And we decided to go for more of like a mid-tone for or a mid-range for the SSS, because if you go too much, getting a lot of reds and stuff. And of course, you can change that color for the subsurface scattering, but for the most part, you want to try and keep that red, which is what the color is underneath the skin, or color of blood there. So if you end up changing that color, it can have it feel a little bit unnatural. As kind of a shift here, we do actually have quite a few people working on music and soundtrack. On the left here, we have Michael Gao, who is actually a friend of mine in undergrad. I met him and we did quite a bit of stuff, both in computer science realm and even motion capture and animation stuff, and even game design, kind of a little bit of everything. He now lives in Baltimore, and he actually has his own audio recording studio that he started up last year called Hypernova Studios. If you guys want to check him out, he does fantastic work. He's going to be doing our sound mix, and this is kind of the cool thing that I've never tried before, and I wanted to kind of learn that process. And I know that he's going to be doing a majority of the work, but I wanted to kind of include this process to do this, and that is doing full surround sound audio mix, which I think is going to be fantastic for our animated short film. And then also he's going to be helping us with some Foley and sound effects as well. In the center, we have Kelly Izzo Sapiro. She's actually a friend of mine from high school who is currently in Rochester, New York, where I'm from. And she is actually composing and actually singing and even playing guitar and such, and helping us to record an original song. And we actually have an early version of it. We're not going to share it quite yet, but let me tell you, everybody's happy with where it is and how it is. So we're just going to keep on polishing it, and we'll hopefully get an updated recording for it maybe in the springtime here. And then last but not least, on the far right, we have Veronica Grisham, who is somebody who I met in grad school while I was working on my animation thesis. And she's a very talented composer. And from the teaser, that is her soundtrack that she made there. All right, so we're getting into kind of the nitty-gritty kind of big questions here. Maddie, do you want to cover this one?
Absolutely. So we've been showing you our process so far and all the different clips and cool things we've been working on. So the question is, when is this short going to be finished? After evaluating our schedule, we have a pretty solid plan to finish the short in 2022. And we will have a public debut at a festival of some kind in early 2023.
Yep. And we do have a plan to to submit to multiple film festivals, including some kind of bigger ones if we can. And again, we're continuing to do research and such like that to know which ones to do first and how we want to release stuff publicly or privately through that process. So we're going to try and hit as many as film festivals and awards that we can.
And even though the full short won't be out for some time, we frequently post updates and progress shots and little behind the scenes tidbits on our social media. So if you're interested in keeping up with our short, we're going to have a link to the card at the end. So make sure to follow us just to see what we're up to along the way. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
And we even have some like fun events that we do too. So I think a month or two ago, we ended up doing a full gaming stream for about 5-6 hours, having fun, having people come in, and we answered some questions about the animated short film and all that jazz. So we do some other fun stuff too. Absolutely. Thank you, Maddie.
Yeah.
And the future of the studio and kind of what our goal is here. So we kind of started this off as kind of a passion project, and now it's kind of turning into, you know, more than just that. We hope that in the future, for our next project, hopefully we would like to pitch to larger studios or even a larger investor so that we can maybe do a TV series or maybe a larger, longer film. But we do have big plans, and even if we can't get that, we already have had some meetings of throwing ideas out for the next project. So there's going to be something after Glow, most definitely. Maddie, do you have anything to add, or is that all good?
You covered most of it. The main goal moving forward into the future, along with pitching bigger projects, is to really hone and expedite our Unreal Engine pipeline. That's kind of what, along with being a smaller studio, being based primarily in the Midwest, along with our outreaches, using the Unreal Engine with this pipeline is kind of what makes Aurora Bell Tower Studios unique. So like honing that, expediting that, making it faster, more efficient, and more ours is also what's going to be moving us forward and making us us, which is very exciting.
Yeah, and we've talked about it too, and we'll see now that with our release date and where it is, there is a possibility that we actually might switch over to Unreal 5 as well and use some of those features in there. So I was quite excited when we saw some of the pre-release stuff for Unreal 5. If you haven't seen it, it's really impressive visuals and cinematic stuff you can do there. All right, and we'll open up for Q&A here. Is the card link on the other one, on the next slide? Anna?
I put it in the chat as well.
Oh, you put it in the chat? Okay, good. Yeah, any questions? And yeah, Logan, just let us know because I can't see anything.
Yeah, I'll be monitoring the YouTube chat for a little bit here. While we're waiting, I have a question of my own that I can kick us off with. As many of you are recent grads, what advice can you give any current students or recent grads who have aspirations of being independent filmmakers?
I would say make a lot of friends, because you're probably going to be working with them in the future.
I was just going to say that. I think,
yeah.
like, especially with this studio in particular, like anytime we've needed someone new, we'd sit together and we go, all right, who knows somebody? And like, that's why we're like, all of us were pretty much brought in by going, okay, I know this person in their senior show, they did, and then like we yank them in, and then we get someone else and we yank them in. And so it's like, while you're still in school and you have friends that you're working with, network, stay in contact, and then don't stop making stuff. Like, this all started because Caitlin didn't stop making stuff and talk to Jesse, and now we're here. So just don't stop creating, especially if you care about it, because that's what's going to keep you going. You're not going to get bored if you love it to death.
Yeah.
Those are great answers.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
I just want to add one quick thing is that we also kind of started, and Logan, I don't know, we talked a little bit about Tea Time Animation here at Stout, just to kind of fill folks in who don't know, and we have a couple of folks wearing some swag from it. Yeah. Tea Time Animation Club is a student-run organization that started up shortly after I started, and I just suggested this organization to students at the time, and they just ran with it. I didn't even ask them to or anything. And they started up and kind of morphed into Tea Time Animation, and it is a nationwide animation organization. There are several university chapters that are all over. I think they actually have one international one that's, I think, in South America someplace, if I'm not mistaken, that just got added. So it's a kind of a growing animation network, and I keep on kind of keep on hounding my students. You got to go to some of those meetings. You got to meet some of these people and make connections, even with your classmates, because 9 times out of 10, these might be the people you might be sitting next to, at your future career and job. So yeah, networking is huge, even when you're at university.
So even we introverted animators need to make friends at school. That's what you're telling me? Wow.
Yeah.
Because everyone else are introverts as well.
We do have a question from the chat. SplatZap says, what made you guys want to use Unreal Engine?
Ooh. Can I take this one, guys, or does somebody want to take it? Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, you can cover it.
We, being a virtual studio and a small team, we were looking at options for rendering, and just looking at Mental is kind of old, Arnold and other renderers in Maya. We were like, man, it takes so long to get any kind of output out of it, and we're sometimes working on laptops, or especially during the pandemic, we don't want to end up burning out a computer or CPU or something, and it just takes time and money, and we don't have that kind of time and money because, again, we're a small team with a limited budget. And so we were looking at some game engines. In the past, I actually have experience with cinematic, using game engines for animated cinematic production. So as I was coming into the university and teaching for my first year, I was finishing up on a side project called Sonder, and they use Unity for their rendering. And that kind of inspired me to use Unreal, because I've seen other folks use Unreal, but not for like a full animated short film or for something, longer than, 3 minutes. So I did some research, and we decided that Unreal is a really good pick. It was, for artist side, it was really easy to use, or easier to use. And also has really awesome lighting and visual effects that we can do pretty easily with the current pipeline that we have. So I think Unreal is kind of a no-brainer. Even thinking, or even looking at the Mandalorian TV series, they're doing something a little bit different there, but that's the Unreal Engine in play. And it was actually kind of funny just to share. So Richard Warner's our rigger, and he got a job while we were working on the production, and at the previous studio that he works at now, the tools and stuff that he's working on, and the stuff he's coding for that studio, they have tools and stuff that they need made, or that they use for Unreal Engine and other game engines as well. So other studios, even larger studios, are starting to use those types of tools because, again, it's faster and cheaper.
Wow. All right. I think, unless anyone has any other questions from the chat, I think that wraps us up.
Is there anything else from the team that you guys want to add? Guys are all set.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming and doing this presentation. This was really, really cool. And hello to all the future people watching the YouTube video.
Can I just add, Logan, again, I think I mentioned this at the very beginning, but I just want to say a special thank you to Nice Booze and also to you for inviting us to do this. Nice Booze, we've been kind of partners here at UW Stout with you guys, and also with Tea Time, and it's a really great community, and we're just so honored and blessed that you guys would have us here. So thank you again so much.